Feel free to interrupt, to pause, to interact. Don't let the cameras dictate what you can or cannot do.
Right.
The cameras, you do not see the cameras, you just act normally and react to what you say. And if you want to pause or whatever. Okay? Let me check.
Sometimes when you just expect to meet somebody, you come across them, right? I'm gonna tell you my story. But I come from a lot. My name is Ifani Onikaba. I'm gonna give you guys a little insight to my life. It's my own personal reality. I consider myself a fighter since the day I was born, and I'm gonna tell you why. My name is Ifani Onikaba. I was born in Nigeria. I migrated to the United States 2009. I was 15 years old at the time. I came here to find new opportunity. I had $500 in one suitcase, you know. Man, life was crazy, you know, because I remember just flying over here, coming to a new state all by myself, you know, 10,000 miles away from my family. I lived with a Kenyan lady at the time, beautiful lady, you know. She made do with everything she had, you know. But when I first got here, I had McDonald's, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you know. So in a month, I gained 40 pounds, you know. I had no TV. I was allergic to cats, and she had cats in the house, you know. So life was a struggle, you know. I was just trying to understand the system, the language, you know. I couldn't understand people. People couldn't understand me at the time, you know. So as a 15-year-old child, I was just wondering, like, yeah, man, why is life so hard, you know? Just a little below 4 months, I left her house, you know, because things didn't work out. I got picked up again by another foster home. Things didn't work out. I got picked up again by another foster home. Things didn't work out. Then I got picked up again by the last one. The name of my family, the final one that picked me up, the name is David and Betsy Casabon. I just want to give a shout out to David and Betsy Casabon, you know, because those guys, man, I tell you what, they changed my entire life. You know, I was a kid at the time. I had nothing.
Recording? Yes. Okay. Start when you're ready. You start.
First off, I just want to say thank you so much for everything you did for me the last time. I remember seeing you run into you at the park. While I was shadowboxing, you came up to me and asked me, do you mind filming me? And from there, we had a deep conversation that ran out to maybe 4 hours, thereabout. And that's one thing that you told me that really stuck to me, and I still practice it up to today, and I'm very grateful for that, was you taught me the word respect, what respect really means, you know. You told me that respect means without interference, you know. I knew what they taught us as what respect means, but I didn't really know the true meaning of what respect is, you know. And I remember after you told me that stuff, I went back home. I started pondering on everything we spoke about, and I was like, "Man, respect without interference is truly respect." And I started applying that to all my life. I started applying that to my day-to-day activities. I started applying that to at work. You know, I started applying that to my son. I started teaching my son that. My son is 2 years old. His name is Jeremy. I started telling my son what respect is. You know, I try not to interfere with things in my life, and it has actually helped me a lot. Adding that philosophy into my memory bank helped me a lot with navigating through problems in life. Because sometimes things happen, and just don't interfere with it. It has helped me with decision makings too, and I'm just grateful for that. And I told myself that I want to come back and receive more knowledge, and that's why I'm here today.
Why is that not enough?
Um, you know, I think that is knowledge. A different to me. I believe that. I believe that personally. I believe that different philosophies applies to certain things. Without interference, to me, is like an overall type of stuff. Just like when you trying to build a house. You can be the architect, but you still need an electrician somewhere in the building, But you can't have the electrician until you start building the house, So I think I'm in that place in my life that I need another help with certain things in my mind, just certain things that's coming up in my life right now. That I just need help, sense of direction, I just need somebody that's wiser than myself, to help me redirect my mind to how can I become this person I'm trying to become? How can I create this person I'm trying to create? How am I, um, yeah.
I feel lost many sentences ago, but because I don't want to interfere with your uh, disclosure, that's why I refrain myself. I fought very hard from interrupting what you said, and that's how I display respect. But you got me lost in the first few sentences because you talk, you use generic terms, and I think that it's easier if you can bring me closer to a specific problem, a specific event that got you back here again, so that I can understand. Because understanding a specific problem and then bring me back to the general statement that you made a couple of minutes ago, it's easier for me to grasp. But you started with the big picture, so I felt lost, right? Now, don't show me the galaxy on the first frame. Show me the Earth first, and then zoom out. So what brought you here? Which event, which problem that brought you here that you could not solve under your own power?
See, now you ask me that question, I just have to think about how to word myself.
Time out. I want to explain what has just transpired in the last 10 seconds. In the last minute, I practiced the knowledge that is called reciprocation, which is the basic cycle of communication invented by Mark Kenny, my co-author, in 2015 when we started our book writing project. And halfway through the project, he came up with reciprocation, a basic cycle of communication. And before I remind you of the four elements of reciprocation, do you remember me telling you about that or not? Okay, then let me ask you this first. Do you know the difference between reciprocity and reciprocation? Reciprocity is an eye for an eye. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. Or another name for that is the golden rule. But that's not about communication. Reciprocation is the label that Mark Kennedy decided to give for what he invented in our book project. It's the most basic cycle of communication. And if you don't understand this, or if you don't remember this, it's very difficult to exercise respect every minute in your life. So, reciprocation has 4 steps. The first step is carried out by the speaker. Disclosure. When you speak, you are disclosing some information. If I interrupt your speech and ask questions about what you say, I'm not interfering, because that's part of the first step. Because your disclosure is not successful if I'm not able to understand what you're saying. So that interruption is not interference. If you are disclosing the information, but after 2 sentences I jump in and say, I don't understand. Could you expand the first 2 sentences before you continue? That is also an interruption, but that's interference. Because I did not wait until you finish the paragraph before I do the second step, which is comprehension. I should never start my second step as a listener before you finish your first step, which is disclosure. And if you did not finish disclosing the whole paragraph, I should not even try to understand the idea that you're disclosing. So an interruption may or may not be interfering.
So, so that example is an interruption that is considered interfering. What's an example that isn't interfering? Like, when would it be okay to interrupt without it being interference?
After you finish your paragraph, and I cannot understand the first paragraph, then I should stop you from moving on to the second paragraph, because the communication fails if I cannot follow you. So interrupting in between paragraphs is not disrespectful. Interrupting in the middle of the paragraph is disrespectful.
Why?
Because respect, that means no interfering. And interfering, that means preventing completion. And if you prevent me from completing my disclosure to finish the paragraph, then you gave me no chance to tell you of my idea. Then how can you expect to understand my idea in the first place? For you to claim that you didn't understand what I was saying, how could you understand what I was saying if I didn't finish saying what I'm trying to say?
So you should wait until the idea has been fully disclosed.
No. The idea may be complex, that involves many paragraphs. One paragraph at a time.
How do you determine in the conversation when the paragraph ends?
That's part of the problem. If your English sucks, it doesn't work, does it? That's why you have to connect the sentences and know when the paragraph ends. And the speaker can help by
pausing.
You don't know that if you don't understand the 4 elements of reciprocation. And most of members of humanity do not know that, do not understand that, because Mark Henry did not invent that set of labels for the reality of human interaction until 2016. Once you finish disclosing your whole paragraph, then, like I demonstrated back there, I said, you're showing me the galaxy right off the bat. I'm lost. Start with the Earth first. That's an example of how I show respect to the speaker. Sometimes when I interrupt, I'm not disrespectful. Sometimes when I interrupt, I'm very disrespectful. Depends on how much that interruption is involved with the disclosure.
So help me out. So when you said I gave you the galaxy versus the Earth, I understood what you said. I understand it. But can you help me out with how to correct that formulation of sentence?
Say that again, please.
How can I change my approach? Like, how can I change? You know how when I spoke, when I was trying to explain to myself or saying what I was saying, how you felt like I went straight to the galaxy. So how can I change that?
Always begin with time and place.
Say that one more time.
Always begin with a specific point in time and a particular place where the event took place that caused you to get here.
So always begin with time
and place. So that people begin with the Earth first. And then bring them to another galaxy.
So, okay. So I should say like, so time is like...
For example, my wife and I are having a big argument, but this is different from the past. A week ago, she started this and I reacted in that way. Suddenly, you have a hook to heighten my interest so that I can focus on the Earth. And then you zoom out and say, you see, this is related to another event in another galaxy long, long ago. And then I can start to see the whole galaxy without feeling lost.
Yeah.
Always begin with time and place.
Yeah, I've always known that too myself. Even my communication, I'm very scattered. I jump everywhere. I noticed that, you know.
And when people are polite, and most people are polite, they will not raise their hand and say that they are lost. And so they continue sitting, pretending like they're listening, but you're talking and they're thinking about all the problems in their life because they couldn't follow you and they don't want to interrupt. And when they did that, they interfere, they disrespect the conversation. They disrespect their time, they disrespect your time because the communication failed. As a listener, you have to interrupt when the communication cycle fails. Otherwise, without your interruption, the speaker goes on and on and on and wasting everyone's time.
Well,
Knowing when to interrupt and not interrupt could not be nailed down to as a science until 2016, when this knowledge is spelled out mathematically.
I like that. I'm very. That's why I always come back. I come back for more knowledge. This is the only place that I know for sure that you can dissect me and break me down and really show me what I need to do and how I need to grow as a person. And I'm a very good student. And I want to learn. I want to be a great man one day. I want to be a leader. I want to lead my people. I want to lead people. I want to.
There you go again. You are taking me away from the earth before you even show me the earth. So
okay,
you are wasting your time and my time again.
Really? Break it down for me.
Start with time and place, your problem. The specific problem that brought you here.
Oh no, but I wasn't talking about the problem. I was thanking you. I was telling you.
You were not telling me anything that I didn't know. You want to learn, that's why you're here.
Yeah.
But if you're telling me that once, not bad. Twice, not way too bad. But I hear that several times today already. And I say, wait a minute, why is he keep telling me all of that again and again? In there, out here.
So I've said it numerous times. So what does that do? What is that?
You're just wasting your time and my time because you're disclosing the same old information that I knew already.
Wow. Okay.
On the one hand. On the other hand, my focus right now is the earth and you're not taking me there as quickly as possible. And so I'm not able to hear anything else you say.
All right. Let me think where I want to start from.
The time and place of the event that made you feel like you did not have enough knowledge.
Question.
Yes.
If I have an event, a question about an event, could I ask you about it? Or would you rather I finished all the videos first?
You can ask when you have questions that cannot wait.
Okay.
Let's
Okay.
deal with that question before we continue.
One of the things that I have been focusing on is trying to show people that I actually care about their problems, because I feel like a lot of the time people have a hard time believing that somebody truly is trying to help them. And I was wondering how to kind of more effectively show that one truly cares for the other person.
The first step is to be a good listener. And voila. This is how.
Yeah.
If you don't understand reciprocation and the 4 elements of reciprocation, you cannot reciprocate. If you don't reciprocate, they don't get the signal that you care to listen. And if you don't care to listen, how do they believe that you care for their problems?
Alright, well, I'm very interesting story, y'all. I said right now, 2 weeks ago.
Thank you.
2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, I lost my job. I lost my summer job.
Time out to explain to viewers. You got me hooked. I have goosebumps. With 3 words, I lost my job. When you say 2 weeks ago, I'm interested. And then you say, I lost my job. I get goosebumps. So within 5 words, within half a sentence, you connected with the listener, with the audience emotionally right off the bat. Compare that with your 5 minutes of disclosure about life, the universe, and everything back 10 minutes ago. Do you see the big difference?
Yeah.
Now, let's go back to that. Sorry to interrupt, but I need to explain to you the power of the Earth versus the galaxy. Now my interest is heightened. I'm ready for what's next in your story of 2 weeks ago, I lost my job.
2 weeks ago, I lost my job. The story about how I lost my job is very, very interesting.
That's the end of the first episode.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Do you not want to sit over here too?
No, because I'm trying to
Alright.
talk to you.
Do I just hit next?
No, don't do anything. Right now, you should talk about what you saw. So that you can help.
First off,
so that you can help viewers understanding how you took it.
Yeah, first off, I do that thing that he was doing almost every time I speak, which is starting with the galaxy and getting lost in it. Not almost every time. I do it, I don't do it when I'm at like parties or events where like entertaining whatever's happening, because we'll be mostly focusing on jokes and like good times. But sometimes when I'm trying to be more serious, I will just kind of get lost in there, and it doesn't really offer anything of substance to the other person. And that's one thing I was really thinking about when he was saying that, because I was seeing myself reflected in it.
Very good.
I'm really curious to learn about the 4 elements of reciprocation, because they seem, I haven't really thought about how to work with people like in this way, like before. And so it's kind of, it's interesting to see all of the different concepts that you guys have put together, right?
What surprised you the most in this first episode?
The bit about time and place was really interesting, because I like, when I talk, I kind of just get feelings about what is good, what is interesting or going to be interesting to the person, or what will not be. And usually while I'm talking to them, I can gauge how interested they are in what's being said, and I'll like kind of adjust to deal with that. But knowing what specifically causes that engagement, like with that hint about time and place, makes me interested in I like the idea of it, and I'm planning on using it in the future because I want to see how to start good stories using that beginning.
That does not mean that you have to be boring and always start with time and place in the first sentence.
Yeah, that wasn't.
It doesn't have to be in the first sentence every time.
Mm-hmm.
It can be in the third or fourth sentence, but it has to be.
No, I plan on being a machine. From now on, I will only speak using time and place at the beginning of every sentence. You know, when I was 3.
But it should be in the first paragraph,
Mm-hmm.
because people cannot wait too long.
Okay. Yeah, that reminds me of this time I was with my uncle. I was 4.5, and my friend was choking on a bone. And well, they were my cousin. It was actually my 5th birthday, and I got to watch as my aunts held her down, like 5 different aunts, one on every leg and arm, and then her mother took a flashlight and some tweezers and held her down because she was choking. Like, there was no time to call an ambulance or anything. And we were in Portugal, so nobody knew the Heimlich or anything like that. But she had tweezers, and she had a flashlight. She used the flashlight to see where the bone was, and then she reached in and pulled it out. Right out of her it was like a long chicken bone. My cousin was probably 11 or something. She was like crying, choking, not breathing, and they like went into emergency mode. This is what has to happen. And I watched that whole thing, like, and it's one of my first memories.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't remember her name though. All I remember, me and my mom call her Epa because Epa means hey. And she was always yelling that at me because I wouldn't listen. I would always be bothering her, and she'd go, Epa! And I feel like I should learn her name at some point, but I kind of like that in my mind her name is Epa. You know what I mean?
That explains why you're not a doctor.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, Helpy, why did you bring up this story?
At first, I was just making up a nonsense story, but then I just decided to keep it going by bringing the real story into it. And then it just was entertaining. I knew it would be entertaining. That's pretty much it.